You're good to go, Mr. Mayor.
Hey, thank you, Will. I'd like to welcome our guests and staff and counselors to the Township of Nipissing meeting Tuesday, November 12th, 2024, 6:30 p.m. I'll ask first if there's any disclosure of pecuniary interest. Seeing none, we'll go on to number 3, adopt the minutes of the October 20th committee meetings. I just keep flying through here. Committee reports, and we'll start with Councillor Yen.
I have nothing tonight. We have a meeting tomorrow night.
Okay. And Councillor Foot.
I have two. I had the EMS committee and the notes are in there. If you have any questions, I'd love to answer them. I'm not sure my voice will make it through 2 committees, but if you have any questions, I can answer them at all. And then we had rec committee. So rec committee, we really worked through a great bottle drive. We emptied both of the landfills and we had more volunteers this week than we've had in a long time. I want to say thank you to everybody that showed up. It was $588.90 to the bottle drive. So that was kind of nice. And the teen dance was great. Hey, Kim, 28 kids. And they loved the DJ, much better job. He answered their stuff. They had fun for it, and they had prizes for the best costume. And then they told the kids about what they're going to do next year. So the splitting up the age groups, and it seems like they got some really good feedback from it. So I think that'll be a lot of fun. We finalized roast beef dinner. So menus finalized for it. I did get a phone message from Mike Jalanis tonight from the Voodoos. I just have to touch base with him because he says whatever Voodoos we get that night, we can keep them for the whole night. We get them for the duration. So I just have to call him and see how many we're going to get, and I'll be able to finalize the details. We're going to put together anybody that wants to join the Friday, the night before, and we're going to cut and peel 125 pounds of potatoes and get some carrots and beans ready. Carrots and beans aren't a big deal. They're really not, because they're going to be already ready to go. We just have to cut and peel potatoes and cook them. So that'll be fun. Really, it's an easy event. We made the decision we're going to plate every dinner, and then gravy boats will be on the tables as optional, so that they can add the gravy if they choose to. Yeah. So we've ordered for 100 plates, correct?
Correct. And the tickets close tonight.
They close tonight. So any idea where we're at? We've sold quite a few, haven't we?
Last count was 73.
Awesome.
We'll have a final later on in the week.
Yeah, because I'll be buying 2 today.
Okay.
Yeah.
2 for turkey. Anybody else want tickets? All right.
Okay, 2. I don't know if I have the cash on me tonight, but
That's what we can just mark it down in the numbers. Yeah. Thank you.
There's a couple sold at the office as well. So
It's gonna be fun. I think we're not gonna have a lot of room. Oh, and what we've done is, because we pre-sold, there's gonna be very little room for people to show up at the door. And we're just gonna make sure people understand that. I mean, if we have to bump the numbers, and if the committee says we need to bump the numbers, we need to do it this week. At the late, probably early next week at the very latest. Just have to let me know so we can add extras on our order. Christmas run, committee made a decision to donate $500 from the rec committee to the kids' Christmas run. And we spent a lot of time on the strat plan and what the future looks like. So some really good progress made on it and budgeting for 2025 events. So 2025 looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. And we're always looking for some fun. No update for Commanda, although she did say that there was a Commanda meeting in the last couple of weeks where they've elected a new president. We just have to wait for information. But they do have a live band and fun for New Year's coming. And we'll just have to wait to hear more on that. And see where we're at from that. And I think that is all I have.
Good. Pretty busy.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a good day.
Yeah, good. And again, my apologies, because I was deer hunting and did drive by and waved when you were doing the bottles. I went to get my gun that I forgot. But other than that, all's good. So move on. Yep, move on to Councillor Scott.
I missed the rec meeting and I was in hunting, so
Okay,
nothing.
well, we heard about it, and we do have the ambulance, the things are all there and.
Yeah, I mean, I can
so
give you the
It's all good.
You're good.
Yeah, yeah, we're good enough that we can read. Counselor Kirky.
Okay, museum board is tomorrow night, but I did sit in on a pay equity seminar from Yumi Bailey, who worked for Pay Equity Canada. Anyway, so sat in there for a couple hour seminar. It was a Zoom seminar, and this is for the library, so we'll have a follow-up on that, and then the police board isn't until the 25th.
Okay. And as promised at the last meeting, the day after, we had East Home. And community service, there was a volunteer dinner at the South Sunridge Strong Jolly Arena, October 28th. And there was an increase in base funding, which was positive, and a one-time allocation of $2,629. So for advertising and for staffing. Operationally, they keep trying to get these phones all call for all the staff, and what they want is one button that's basically an emergency button, and they're just having a really hard time configuring them. And so they're holding off on the installation till that's done, because that's pretty important. They have a nurse call system upgrade, and they're tendering it. And they've tendered it, the evaluation is underway. East Home can't tender, so they run it through Strong Township.
No.
Does their tendering. They have a meal suite, which is an implementation for food plan for everybody, because everybody's diet. I mean, 50 years ago when we were there, meat, potatoes, vegetable, not anymore. Blended, low salt, no salt, this kind of thing. It's just, I'm amazed how they get it through, but they do. We did have a Ministry of Labor inspection, and the good news was they had no negative findings, which is unusual. But they did, so that was really positive. They had an evacuation drill on site October 10th. So the ministry was there the 9th and fire drill on the 10th, and they have a improved response. So that was a good thing. So the new fire chief was happy. We continue to have to house workers, so they're investigating a new location for staff housing. It's just a resident on Valley View that they're looking at. They've moved into apartments and they'll have to rent there. And they've done a funding application for skills development to work on their live classroom that they have at East Home itself. So fund it. Upcoming, they have waste disposal and recycling, and they're attempting to work it out with Miller and with the town of Powassan. So it makes it always interesting. And they're still looking at the fire break. The last group that was in thought that they had to cut a bunch of trees down on the pines because they're too close to East Home. And now the new group isn't sure they have to, so we'll see. Capital work, they're still having trouble with the ISIP project that ended last December. And luckily they have 2 years of warranty, but if they had just stuck with the 1 year, they would be in trouble. Hours of care, the premier said there'd be 4 hours per person beginning March 1st. East Homer, it's now at 3 hours and 75, or 3.75, it's not 4. So their target they should hit by March 1st. And the Legion has been newly designated for alternate emergency center. They had the rink, but the rink doesn't have a generator, and the Legion does. So, neat, and great discussion on the circular economy. And they're finding it's more and more difficult for little places to run like that. So more collaboration with different nonprofit homes for future projects. And one is they're working with the home in Perry Sound right now, see if they can work something out. And what they're running into, they don't have doctors for their home, staffing issues, but without a doctor, you're in trouble. And we're lucky enough to have two. So far, so good. And the next meeting is November 20th. And that's all I have. And if there's no questions, we'll move on to what I started with 10 minutes ago. The minutes of the October 22nd council meeting. Mover and the seconder, Councillor Yam and Councillor Flynn. Glasses to the roll. Number R 2024-214. Moved by Councillor Yam, seconded by Councillor Foot. The minutes of the regular council meeting held October 22nd, 2024 be adopted as published. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay, the next one, this is agreement for OPP provision of 911 primary public safety answering point services. And
We do every 4 years. So this is the newest one.
yeah. So we do it routinely every 4 years. There are no changes to speak of.
It's a new system. It's an enhanced system for testing. I believe it's added.
And was there a slight increase?
A slight increase.
Yeah. Sure, I've got it written down, but this one was slight
Yes.
compared to the
So the police.
other one at the,
So. The changes are the price per capita is 0.561 cents per person, per residential population.
for 1,769 people.
Yeah.
And it was 900 something a year.
Yep.
Then it went up
It only went up about $20.
$20. So that one is, every for me was painful, but this is less painful. So are there any questions? Because this was the addition to our package, right? Comments or questions? If not, I'll move over in a second. Thank you for that side of Councillor Scott and Councillor Kirky. It's number R 2024-215, moved by Councillor Scott, seconded by Councillor Kirky, that we pass bylaw number 2024-49, being a bylaw to enter into an agreement for OPP provision of 911 primary public safety answering point PSAP services for the first, second, third time, and pass this 12th day of November 2024. All in favor? Carried. Okay.
We're called taking and alerting services. We have it down as a resolution, but when I was reading the actual agreement, they've changed some of the terms. So we moved it to a bylaw. So it's really, I think the biggest change for this one will be the fee structure.
Little bit of the fee structure with the 5 years.
Yeah, so it starts with January, or for 2025, it's 175 a month up until April. Then it moves to 200. By the end of the agreement in 2030, it'll be $300 a month. And this is one we've been extending, hoping to move the services, but that isn't moving along as we hoped.
It's moving
So-
along very slow.
This is,
But there was, what did I see?
There was a 90-day
90 days,
exit clause on both parties.
right.
Oh, and that's only fair.
Of course it is, 100%. So if something changes within the 5 years, but it's moving very slow, so it'll probably at least be 2 to 3 before
So we're protected.
we are protected.
Is important. So mover into second. Yeah, stay there then. Okay, Councilor Kirky. Councilor Scott. It's number R 2024-216, moved by Councilor Kirky, seconded by Councilor Scott, that we pass bylaw number 2024-50, being a bylaw to enter into an agreement for the provision of fire communication, call taking, call alerting services with the North Bay Regional Health Center for the Township of Nipissing Fire Department, read first, second, third time, and passed this 12th day of November 2024. All in favor? Everybody get a copy?
a lot of signatures on it.
There we go. Good morning. Okay, number 6, we move on to the capital forecast in your bundle.
Did make a few changes. That were received at the last meeting. Go through the next page. Next page. Oh, something's not right there. 72nd page.
Possibly the old one. Yeah.
This
The
one.
new one has-
Yeah, the new one has a second draft. Okay, I'll read it out. So on the second page, we did some review for efficiencies within the departments. And Public Works is looking to buy a new pickup truck. And the municipal office needs a new administration vehicle for shared with the building department. And we are going to try sharing a vehicle. So we'll move that to 2025. The cost for that will be a total of 80,000. We had originally budgeted 50,000 for administration and 70,000 for the truck. So this will result in a $40,000 savings. We'll reevaluate and make sure it's working properly. This one's a new one. I just put this. in.
Okay, because I thought it was on the back page, mine.
Yeah, no, yours doesn't say that yet, because it was supposed to be on the screen.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately, we lost PowerPoint on this one.
Yeah, that's a technical glitch. So I'll bring that up to you, that
Okay.
one. The next page is general government. There were no changes on that one for the reserves and computer replacements and things. Next page was the fire department capital. There was a request to consult with neighboring municipalities regarding the joint tank location and use. So I believe the fire chief has reached out to Powassan and there was not an appetite to share for next year.
Not for that project, no.
No. And we put a note in here in the capital forecast that as they come up, we will continue that process. Also, we put for 2028, Station 1, Community Center exterior, that it may be painted, lowering the estimate depending on the building condition results. We haven't received those yet. So we just left that number in there as placeholder for now.
Question on the dry hydrant tanks, sorry, not necessarily Black Creek, but Ski Hill.
Mhm.
That's when we were discussing potentially sharing with Boston. So are we gonna hold that for a little bit?
No.
It's still gonna be on the agenda for 2025?
So where will they get their water?
They go back and use your hydrants in town,
Wow,
cause they only have 2 houses.
well, they got all of 534.
They go back and use hydrants.
That's a long go back.
2,000 gallon porta tank. That's running dry and the guy's back in Powassan.
Yeah,
Okay. So, so there is no other change to the fire department reserves plan. The landfill capital remained the same. Landfill reserves remain the same. The public works fleet plan, we changed it from 2027 for the new pickup truck and moved it for the shared vehicle for 2025 with the administration. Next page didn't change either. That's the fleet plan for Public Works. Public Works capital projects page. We adjusted the number for reseal 4.8 kilometers of Lakeview, Lillian, Muskeg, Marion, Hunter's Bay, Run E. And we included the repair to the Muskeg intersection and changed that amount to 200,000. The Alsace Road 2 kilometer phase 1 using the 500,000 with Nords. If there is more funds left over after that, we'll move forward with further repairs. That's the Nords funds that we have to use.
So you'd move on to phase 2.
Yeah, we'll just keep going further down the road.
Okay, because to be clear, that money has to be spent or they're taking it.
Right.
And then the relining of the culverts, there's a resolution coming up further in the agenda to move those amounts. We had budgeted this year into next year, put them in reserve for use next year because the company wasn't able to fit us into their schedule this year.
We have to go back to that original company
Pretty much.
and say, yeah, I can't do it.
No,
Okay,
I've reached out and set an appointment up and there were no show.
yeah, they're busy doing McEwen in North Bay right now. I see all the trucks there.
Yeah, so I do have, working with the other municipality engineer, he's done the volume calculations on the one on Bear Creek. The way it's pushed in on that side, we're gonna lose 30% of the volume when we reline it. So we might have to put an 8-foot culvert beside it to pick up the slack for the loss of volume in the culvert. But if we reline that one, we can do one half at a time, so we'll never have to shut the road down. It's just, I mean, if we can't get that one side to push out, which is gonna be pretty tough. So we've lost, he just did the volume calculations, so like I said, we've lost about 30% of that culvert.
And it would run full bore in the spring.
Well, I've seen it, this summer I've seen it running 3/4. I mean, I don't know what previous, how full you've seen it, Councilor Yem,
both the same.
yeah.
Yeah, both 3/4.
So 30 would be too much.
Right, and then plus, you know, we always gotta bank on the new 100-year storms,
Yeah.
so. That's one of our options right now, we're just looking into it,
So you're saying put an 8-foot culvert beside it?
yes.
Would that not offset the cost of replacing that?
Well, it's gonna offset so when we got the pricing, they hadn't done the volume calculations, it's not gonna offset the price, it's gonna add to the price, because we'll have to buy an 8-foot culvert.
Well, what I'm saying is, wouldn't we be better off just to replace the one that's there now?
That's, you're gonna lose half, it'll be very difficult, because they're a multi-plate, so you gotta build them in one section and set them in. You can't build half of a culvert and then,
No, I get that,
But
but
there's
the
only-
size of it, you can't put us, yeah.
there's only one way in, one way out. I mean, so we can't lose that road, or we'll have to build a temporary road for traffic.
So it'd be cheaper. to
So
do
it's
an
better to reline, lose the 30%, and then staff, but we could do the other 8-foot culvert ourselves.
Mhm. Okay. I just, you know, playing devil's advocate here, like to replace that culvert. The cost to replace, just replace it, not relining, replace. it.
Replacing it, we'd probably be pushing 700,000.
Oh, okay.
By the
That
time
was
we
where I was going.
buy the culvert and, you know, dig it out, excavate it out and new gravels and we'll be up there.
And you'd have to cut the road off.
Yeah, we'd have to cut the road off, make a new road. Temporary bypass road, so traffic can still get in and out.
Yeah, okay.
I've done multi-plates from start to finish and they're time consuming.
You're a month, you'll be about a month,
Easy.
Oh, okay.
you're a week to build the pipe, week and a half to build the pipe, and then, like I said, a week or a couple weeks setting it in, backfilling, and by the time you're all said and done, you're about a month and a bit. And that's not including building a new road, a temporary road.
Well, yeah, okay. Thank you.
Well,
Thank you both.
And then there was, I think that was everything. Still waiting to hear, we haven't heard anything on the Hummel Bridge application. Garage reserves, oh, also, yeah, you and I spoke about replacing the Public Works garage console chamber.
Yeah.
So, Dan actually has the.
Reach out
that we
to
use.
East Ferris, their garage was done in 2022. And, they were $2.2 million for, their 8,000 square feet.
I was told 3 million by an employee, so
Yeah.
2.2. Magneta one did theirs 15 years ago, and it was 2.5 million.
And that's 2.2 or 2.8?
2.2
Yeah.
million.
Okay.
And that's a 4-bay.
That's a 4-bay,
Yeah.
so it's we're gonna, I proposed a little bit bigger, but, we're gonna put council chambers on there.
Yeah.
But, so here's a square foot, it is $273 a square foot.
Yeah.
And that gives that, I have a 1,600 square foot office up top.
I know Callander was gonna build a new garage and they budgeted 7 million and come in at 15 for a garage office.
Yeah.
So they backed off that.
Yeah, no, I mean, these prices are about as realistic as you're gonna get. So they picked, there's three quotes here, three prices here, so. They had an existing garage, so when it burned, insurance paid for half, and the East Ferris paid for the other half. So one quote came in at 1.3 million, 1.4 million. One came in at 1.1 and 1.2.
Boy, that's cheap.
Plus, East Ferris kicked in the other half to make the 2 point, because
Yeah.
they doubled the size of their garage.
Yeah.
And you have to go in that facility. If you
Right.
do it to experience it and see what they got and how they did it,
Yeah, there's a few things I would change, but I mean, ultimately, it's very well put together.
like you got 4 bays, right? We also have pass through. Open one door, you can go straight through and go the other side.
Yeah.
So really, and you ended up with 8 bays,
Yeah, you basically have, I mean, right now, the problem,
8 bays.
well, because you have
4 and 4, right?
full depth, you got
Full-
80 feet wide.
You know what I mean? And so truck and a loader can face each other, grader in a truck, backhoe in a truck, excavator in a truck, all face each other. They can go out either direction. And there's nothing in like I think there's 1 pillar in there or 2
Yeah,
pillars.
1 or
There
2
wasn't very many center pillars.
Yeah.
So it's literally wide open.
The problem we face now is we have if something goes down, you have no place to work on it. The way the vehicles are jammed in there.
It was so nice. You were changing blades or whatever, and we used the backhoe or whatever. You just drive it in, back it in the other way. You don't have to move anything other than the truck it's gonna be worked on is all right. Nothing,
No pillars.
no pillars, it's just like, oh my God.
So
There's no
that-
pillars in Nipissing scratch, you know.
So
Yeah.
And like their lunchroom, they have a lunchroom. So they got the foreman's office, his bathroom, laundry and shower and dryer facility, storage room for all the parts, the small parts. The next room is bolts and hydraulic lines. They make all their stuff in-house. We did before. Now you actually have
Proper setup.
a much better setup. Then you can go upstairs and they got beautiful lunchroom. They have
Conference
a
room.
conference
I
room.
mean, like I said, there's a few things I would change, but we're gonna lose 2,500 square feet for the office up front.
Thanks, yeah.
But
So
anyway, it's just,
we had also discussed demolition, so we're gonna demolish the garage ourselves.
yeah, I mean, this is what I've done this for a living. I mean, I can do the office for less than $5,000.
But we're not demolishing the office.
No, but I'm just saying, and then the garage, like 40,000, you're probably gonna get 8,000 to 10,000 back in steel.
There's a plan there.
And all of this is subject to.
Yeah. Change.
Yeah,
It's a forecast.
It's a
and it
forecast.
could change.
Yeah,
Correct.
like we have 2 bridges to build.
Yeah. So everything we look at, and again, if I've said it once, and again, I could put in front of capital budget, you could also put a weather forecast. Yeah, this is a forecast, just like we were gonna have all of those things done this year, the culverts, and now we're moving it,
right.
because God knows what's gonna happen.
I mean, the garage is, there's issues, but it's just looking forward,
Yes,
starting,
Just
you know,
plot it on there so that we start.
it's identified that it's an issue, and so it's not a shock down the road that we need to do something.
and the other thing I understand, because I was one of the first that said, crystal ball 10 years down the road, but then it turns around, the government is insisting that is a 10-year plan. You can't give them 5 years, which, just like you can't do your weather for a week, you do it 14 days. Well, so, and I think the other thing from the front that says this will be looked at every
Every
year
year, we'd look and we move things around.
and things will be moved and changed and whatever, because again, we have other things to build too.
Sure, I mean,
So it's a forecast.
Yeah. So the public works reserves did not change. Cemetery capital did not change. I don't think anything else in the original document changed from there. Cemetery reserves. Recreation, nothing changed there. Now the museum, we're looking at a different approach, but we'll talk about that at the museum board tomorrow night and then we'll bring that up. But as far as these figures go, this is what we'd like to put forward. If council is comfortable approving that at this point, then we can move forward with the draft process.
Again, second draft capital budget forecast. And then when we get all the asset management,
I'm still waiting for those reports on the buildings.
that's gonna clear everything, give us more clarity.
Yes,
It's never gonna clear everything up.
actually, it's gonna define just how much of a gap there is, but yes.
Like you say, at the end of the day, it's a forecast.
Yeah.
We'll be revisiting this next year.
Every year,
When we go through the budget,
every year.
when you go through the budget, you're gonna go, whoa, no, it's not gonna happen, And maybe somebody's gonna give us some money, but I don't know.
That's not what we do.
So again, we look at it as a forecast. But you will look at it in the budget, and that's where the principal says the rubber meets the road. That's where you're gonna have to make the decisions, because we know the state of the union right now, so. So can we go with this forecast? Are we good enough to put it ahead and then, but again, it's a forecast. So I need a mover and a second. Okay. Scott, Counselor Turkey, It's number 2024-217, moved by Councillor Scott, seconded by Councillor Kirk, that we adopt the capital budget and asset management forecast 2025-2035 as presented. All in favor? That's just so, it seems so long. Of course, we did the other day, Steve there, I made it to 70. I never thought I'd do that. God only knows. Okay, now, as Dan was talking about the culverts, so we had Bear Creek, Stone Cutters, and Hart. We're hopefully going to get those guys next year. And again, it's just skilled labor, in everything. Hard to get, so we need a mover and a seconder so we can move that. So, Councillor Yam. Councillor Foot. It's number R 2024-218, moved by Councillor Yam, seconded by Councillor Foot. Whereas the shortage of materials and skilled labor for the installation of culvert relining project located at Bear Creek Culvert, Stone Cutters Road, and a joint project at the Hart Road Culvert with the municipality of Callender required the rescheduling of these projects to 2025. Now therefore, we authorize a transfer of the budgeted amounts for these projects to reserve for use in the 2025 budget. All in favor? Carried. Need a reserve policy. And again, if you have any questions on that, but again, we go over it every year. And it can be, reserves can be changed, that kind of thing. And it went over specifics, so I know when we used to be in school, we'd have a reserve and we'd make it for sports, and then the drama guys would take it all. So now there's specific reserves for specific usage, and you go over both of them in there.
Well, just what happens at the end of the year is we go over the budget and see what we have left, and then we have to come to council before we finish the year to make sure we get it within the year and ask for a resolution for different accounts. For these accounts that we're requesting on Schedule A, these are accounts that are set aside for these specific purposes, and if there is a surplus at the end of the year, on December 31st, we'll just be moving it into a reserve because it was budgeted for that, and it helps us build the reserve for those specific purposes. So asset management, we'll be budgeting for different asset management programs. Pay equity, we've done that for quite a while now, just in case there's a claim. The integrity commissioner. Automatic aid renewal and expense for future automatic aid calls and blocks. So when they get called, we get billed, and sometimes we'll have none, sometimes we'll have more than that. So it just allows us to build a reserve if there's a surplus there. Professional development for the fire department, whatever doesn't get used, because we have such a call now for training for our firefighters, it allows us to build a bit of a reserve if it's not all used. And with the owners for the volunteer firefighters, if it's not used, we'll be placing it into a reserve for WSIB, fire department related WSIB. Streetlights, we've always tried to move into reserve if there's any left over. And same with public works emergency preparedness. We just never know when we're gonna need all those signs. We just wanted to add those on, so it just takes one of those housekeeping items out of the year end for
Streamline. Want me to do that? Are there any other questions about that? Okay, mover and seconder, that side this time. Okay. Got a bad eye. Can't look both ways. Number R 2024-219, moved by Councillor Scott, seconded by Councillor Kirky, whereas Councillor adopted the reserve fund policy on September 3rd, 2024 with resolution R 2024-174, and whereas the reserve funds policy has the purpose of establishing framework and outline requirements for establishing reserve funds, authorizations required for use of reserve funds, and the annual reserve contribution requirements. Now, therefore, Schedule A is hereby added to the reserve and reserve funds policy, providing specific accounts that shall be reviewed upon the closing of a specific year, and any surplus remaining shall be transferred to a reserve account for specific uses as indicated, and that the Schedule A will be reviewed by council annually with review of the policy during the regular budget schedule. All in favor? I know some of you are thinking, what the hell did he ever hear about this? But I looked over them all, and I think you have as well, everybody, and the dates, and they're close to this year's dates. And I think they work. The only one that moved a bit was the one for around Phnom. And so it just backed it up later in the month for April or May. May. So otherwise, they're as close as we had to this. It still has the one meeting in November and single meetings in July and August. But if you have a question that I missed because
This is the one, not this. Okay, there. So I got the fourth on my, is yellow, I'm assuming that was a council meeting, but it's only one a month, right?
Yes, so we moved it to the 18th,
Good.
one for the month of November.
What was the blue ones for?
That's Remembrance Day.
those are holidays.
Stats.
Stats.
Oh, okay.
Who knows? They may change too. It won't be by our choice, but. So, well, right now, we're not taking the restitution.
No, we don't take
We don't take that,
September 30th. No.
but somebody, that could change. Are there any other questions about these? And again, if we run into a problem like we did this year and people are available, we have to move it. You have to move it and have the power. So we'll move into seconder. Okay, thank you. Those tuned in on your UTV or whatever it's called. Number R 2024-2220, moved by Councilor Yem, seconded by Councilor Foot. That the council meeting schedule will be as follows. I'm not going to read it all because.
Yep.
So I will ask for a all in favor. Carried. First year I read every stinking one. Okay, next one is municipal conferences. Now, I attended one. Others have attended other conferences. Before we look at these, just first of all, they've changed a lot. I've noticed they've changed a great deal. I noticed for AMO, for example, as much as we voted, and we lost our votes because we both voted for the wrong people, but anyway, we voted. A lot of it has moved to bigger centers. I found that there was a lot less for me for AMO that I would have gone to than previous years, where I thought there was a lot more there. And I thought there was a lot less geared for us. So when we look at these, maybe not as many go, cut back representation, something like that. First of all, rural Ontario, how did you feel about it?
It almost felt like rural southern Ontario.
Yes. It
What's
is.
that?
How am I doing?
Rural southern Ontario.
Yeah.
And it's
Well,
right.
I think we pulled. I did, I was thinking Phenom, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's,
This was
I went to
Roma.
Roma, that was true.
That was our first time attending Roma.
Yeah,
And I question from what you had to say, if that's our last time attending Rome. What do you think?
well, I didn't get anything out of it. Like I say, Roma was, every issue that was dealt with seemed to be a southern Ontario geographically separated from our issues. So I didn't, it's like a couple of days of my life that I'll never get back.
And comparing yourself to myself, you're far more open-minded. If you got nothing out of it, I would have been a total waste of time. So I would suggest that maybe for this year, we don't go to Roma. But, and good roads.
Like I mean, I would think maybe every other year. Again, I don't see much for us there either. I like the trade show, but I mean, we're not gonna pay that kind of money just to walk around the trade show for one day.
Right.
Now, are they doing delegations because I
Yeah.
saw a thing there the other day.
It'll
We
be
have.
for delegations.
It is open for
It's the
delegations,
same
so,
as what we went through in April.
yeah. But I'm just wondering if the right ministers. You know what I mean?
Who else would we talk to?
But you wouldn't need,
Transport minister?
It's not
would you
an
need to buy a pass to do that?
Yes.
I know that she
Yeah,
recommended that.
when we went.
Oh, right, yeah,
But if that,
okay.
it's
I went
not
to
a
the mayor.
connecting link, the MTO has nothing
Yeah,
Yeah,
to
but
do with it.
you wouldn't, they didn't stay overnight.
But they still had to buy a pass and it still was the same costs.
Okay.
What do you mean, like,
Remember when you went, you had to buy a
Yeah.
1 day pass? And it
yeah,
was-
it cost us $800 for 2 hours
Yeah,
each.
Uh,
Like Boston paid 800, we had to pay 800.
and I think it's like $900 if I wanted to go do the trade show for 1 day.
Yeah, and then we went in, we were there for 15 minutes. They said, well, that time they said, no, we're not giving you any money. This time they said we could bring them coffee.
Yeah.
You know, but so if we look at that, maybe not this year, the good roads, but I do think that, and again, you know, I'm talking about on my hat, but Phenom in North Bay, you know? No, I mean, back and forth, that kind of thing, and I think it meets our needs.
Yeah.
The president, I think, looks at us as humans, not coffee, bringers of coffee. I would really recommend that everybody that can go to that, go to that.
This might be his last year's president.
So even more reason to go.
Their topics are relevant to what
They
we're.
are, I find the phenomenon more relevant to what we do than any other one.
Yeah. So it's a long time away. Do we look at all council going to that? If you want. And again, that's if you're able, you know, who knows,
Mhm.
you know, May 5th at 7, but, you know, and I know in the past, we haven't gone to the banquet because, I don't know, but that would be something, but you can look at who would like to go and then question the banquet. And then that brings us to AMO. And again, I was really disappointed this year. I went quite a few years ago, last time we were turned down. And I thought there was more to it. And I just thought, when you looked at the elections for, you know, I mean, we win Northern because we're the only ones Northern. But the provincial,
Mhm.
it's Southern Ontario. Everything seemed to be Southern Ontario to me, you know?
Well, it was almost like a repeat of Roma, but with cities involved.
Yes,
But, and I was absolutely surprised at how many cities or members of Roman, I was talking to John Severino about that, and he says, well, you consider North Bay, 78% of North Bay is rural. That's why the cities are, because cities are large. The city of Ottawa, how much of the city of Ottawa is rural now? You know, so we don't realize that because we're rural and our center consists of an office and, you know, our assets are small and our population's small. But when you look at them and you got populations that are in millions, but a large part of that is rural.
So still rural. Makes competition really tough.
Because they're rural, they compete for the same rural fundings.
Yeah.
And they got population density to win it all the time.
Mhm. And
The former chairperson of Roma is now the chairperson of AIM.
yes. And I know we tried, I know the lady that we were voting for was out of Northeastern Ontario, dynamic in everything, and she got annihilated, you know.
It's almost like she didn't exist on the ballot.
It's got 2 votes. So, you know,
If you'd like to just read council, all of council on the phenomenon line. This we just use as a base for when we're budgeting, right? So
and then if one person would ever wanted to go to whatever to AMO, and you know, you can look at that, but good roads in rural Ontario, one and done. Oh, that is a resolution, so now we have to go. So I need people to, thank you. Hey. And so we're looking definitely at Federation of Northern Ontario Municipalities and a question mark for AMO. So it's number 2024-221, moved by Councillor Foote, seconded by Councillor Yam, that we authorize attendance at the 2025 municipal conferences as follows. Federation of Northern Ontario Municipalities, May 5th to 7th, 2025, held in North Bay, Full Council, Association of Municipalities of Ontario, question mark, August 17th, 20. All in favor? Okay. Thank you.
Can I speak to that
Oh, sir.
before we continue?
Yep.
So the AMO one, if we keep an eye on the AMO watch file, if something comes up that is pertinent to us.
Definitely. And that's why I put the question mark, you know, and if it comes up at Good Roads, it's gonna come up again at AMO. So
Yeah.
then you'll see it, you'll have about a 4-month warning, so then we can look at that.
this just helps us when we need to book the rooms ahead of time or get the
Oh, yeah.
early bird pricing, so if there's anything.
Okay. Correspondence.
I know, there's a lot this time, I'm sorry.
And it looks good for the next meeting too. We get each other.
First one is information.
Yes,
And that was nice, Alana Vale, and we, you know, looked at and they submitted our sites and our schedule and everything like that to
Yep,
the
we've been-
ministry,
we've been approved.
and we're approved.
Yeah.
So, good news. The next one, Peter Bethlehem Fall V. And this is the update on the funding. And it's great that we can see it coming.
Yep.
You can budget an increase of 83,000. And we will receive 717.30. And it's just information, and part of it is really good. Go ahead.
So the Ontario Municipal Partnership Fund is meant to offset the downloading of programs from the province to municipalities. And
Like EMS and policing and things like that. So this is gonna come right back around, not very far from here. So next. Funding and the technical guide. So here, Mayor Reed, CEO and Treasurer, and this is Superintendent Commander of Municipal Policing Policy. And you'll notice it went up $83,000. 70? Yes, because we had 83 more. It went up $70,000. And it shows the billing and the calendar year and the costs. And then you see everything on salary and benefits. And then you see Nipissing Township calls. I went over this with our police officer, and he said, "We're fantastic. Our call ratio is fantastic."
We're supposed to be going over this at the next meeting.
Your meeting, good. So, I mean, good there. I'm always upset on 911 calls. Hang-ups, because they cost us money. Oh, Nipissing is a great place to live. That's just total information. There's no negotiations, no anything, which brings us to number 4. And we have Tweed, Terrace Bay, St. Charles, and Whitewater, which is Cobden. And if you look at them in all, read them, what we need to read is that therefore be it resolved, and all of them is call on the Ontario government to immediately implement sustainable funding for small rural municipalities by reabsorbing the cost of the OPP force back into the provincial provincial budget with no cost recovery to municipalities. Now, that's a lovely thought. I agree with all of these people. But the reality is, if we give them back over 300,000, they're gonna come and get it someplace else. I'll call that the circular economy. And I don't think that, I mean, we can support this, but I think it's just gonna come right around and bite us, bite you, and I look at AMO's policy statement and they say, we're looking at this and we're talking to them and negotiating, but I mean, if we're paying that 300,000+, these other ones, I mean, the hit to the government would be so substantial, they would wipe out UMF or OSIF or something.
Right away.
Yeah.
Right away.
Yeah, it would, yeah.
Yeah, you know, so it's a nice thought. And again, I would suggest we don't support this and we leave it to others to AMO to look at this, because I think you're gonna bite the hand that feeds you, you know?
I know a lot of people are looking into it. It was the main topic of conversation the one day at the finance conference we were at last week, so everyone is paying attention.
And I mean, the costs went up, we understand that. And the hard thing too is when our taxpayers come back and say, they were really loud on whatever, you know, we need the police to be there. Well, if that's in excess of what they're already patrolling, that's just a separate individual bill to this township, you know? And it's not cheap. Or when you ask you know, we'd like a ride program set up this weekend out where, you know, something is taking place. They'll do it gladly. They would love to do it. But we're gonna pay for it. And if we're looking, that's a cost we can't cut, you know, so. You know, my suggestion is perhaps we can look at AMO and their fall economic statements and hope that they have better luck than Tweed and
Yeah, that's
Whitewater.
coming from a big voice right there.
Yeah,
And we probably have more ride programs per capita than the city. Like every.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
And we've been providing their information from our speed, our radar signs and helping the OVP to plan where they're gonna place their enforcement, so we work with them.
and we do work with them. And I mean, the reality is you're gonna come back from your meeting and they used to come to us. And I mean, they'd tell us that there were 4 cars on the road between South River, Mattawa, Sturgeon Falls to Port Lawrence, 4 cars. And every year I'd say, so why is he following me? But the reality is that that's how many are out there, you know?
That's on a good day though.
And that's
If they don't have other calls or they're in court.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So I think we leave this one. And
There we want to quote right now.
no. Then we get to number 5 on the resolution from the town of Blue Mountains for a rural road safety program. And I think we all agree that that would be a great thing as well. I don't know where I put that one. But I mean, it's all there. It says, you know, take action to implement the rural road safety program that Good Roads has committed to lead. Will allow Ontario's rural municipalities to make the critical investment needed to reduce the high number of people being killed and seriously injured on Ontario's rural roads. It's so true. It's an unarguable fact. And we could support this. You know, they point out, but again, the problem is we have 17% of the population and 55% of the fatalities. And again, will they support us? You know, it's what you said about Roma. It seems to be Southern Ontario. So again, it's neat Blue Mountain because it's, again, pretty wealthy and money, you know. But again, if we want to support this, we can on the next council meeting. And I mean, it's all true. Everything they say is true. I don't know how Good Roads are going to be able to lead us in that direction. I haven't seen all the documents.
Yeah.
And I mean, Good Roads has said more 4-laning, more passing lanes, more deer fencing, more. And again, it's all a really good idea, but who's paying for it, you know?
Yeah.
Do we want to support it? Or again, this goes to Good Roads, the other one to AMO. So. And we can definitely put it on or leave it off, whatever council thinks.
I think at this point, in my opinion, just leave it off for now because somebody out there is looking at it. And I think our population density up here, like they say, 17% of the population, 55% of the fatalities.
Mhm.
They're putting highway fatalities on that. And they're making it sound like it's rural roads, like gravel top roads, and it's really not.
No, it's 11 and 17.
It's 11 and 17. Exactly.
So. They will look at it again. You will look at it again. The AMO policy statement, you've all read it again. It's really interesting. And I mean, I watched this on Toronto TV where they were moving existing bike lanes. What a scrap, you know? And we can all understand it. And one side says, we move them so that secondary roads, we avoid gridlock and bikers on a main road where they get run over. Then the bikers turn around and say, but, you know, and again, when you look at the numbers, it's such a, the bicycling population is such a minute number of the people on those Toronto roads, but, you know, so 2 camps, it's a really interesting, really difficult. So we'll see how they go with that, you know. Which brings us to number 8, the North Bay Prairie Sound District Health Unit. And I mean, they went over the meeting and be it resolved and everything. Next meeting is November. And again, this is, if you look to the writing to Dr. Kieran Moore, Chief Medical Officer, Health and Assistant Deputy Minister. And everything they say here is true. Every word of it. It goes back to public agencies in North, you know, geography. We have 90% of Ontario's land mass, and we have a minority of the population. The problem with spread out municipalities, we have 107 of the 134 First Nations, healthcare gaps, can't get doctors, everything like that. Everything they're saying there is true, and they're just asking, and again, information they're asking that, go to the page 8, our fundamental message is that if a funding approach is to truly advance health outcomes and health equity, whatever metrics like per capita funding are attractive for their simplicity, ease and understanding, but the clarity in fact mask the complexities of serving Ontarians who are not uniform statistical units, who live within diverse social contexts with countless equities, inequities, and that's us, Northern Ontario. And again, it just like the rural, the stats on the driving, it's the same thing for the health, you know? And they pointed this out, and they want to work with the government on it, and I applaud them for that. Good luck getting more doctors, more ambulances, more, you know, in-house healthcare, old people, health-centered, home-centered healthcare. And we all support it, but I don't know how they're going to do it unless they move us all closer together, and that's not rural Ontario. So rural Northern Ontario.
Rural Northern Ontario, the model that they're using now seems it's kind of working now with the
Paramedicine. Yeah.
I think that's gonna take a good hold.
I hope it does, and that's where we go back to EMS, and they have to hire more EMS for paramedicine, because now they're getting calls out, and paramedicine are the guys that are gonna go into the homes and work with these people. But with more calls, and we're getting more calls, and a lot of it are new recruits to the north who expect we never had before.
Well, they've already stated that paramedicine is already reducing frequency and
Like,
yeah,
of hospitalization.
frequency and length of hospitalization and a better quality of life in the home. So it's working.
So, and we have supported paramedicine, everything that we could do from our local, from Westbury Sound and whatever. So, you know, it's good. I appreciate everything they've done, and you know, we'll say that, But, you know, and all I can say is good luck with that. I hope they have success. They go together. And then the last one, Steve has talked about all of those. That was June, August, September, and October. Those are
The
all
library
minutes, all the minutes
Oh,
from the library.
Okay, yeah.
And if there's anything that you want to. They were good minutes, it's just.
Yeah.
I've already forgot about June, you know.
Well, we had redone how we do the minutes so that they're easier to understand, and we did that earlier in the year. And it does seem to speak to getting better organized.
You need to leave, feel free, okay?
No, I just need, well, when we close, I'll go 30 seconds and just.
Okay,
Yeah.
put the windows,
I warned you.
you did.
I did.
I appreciated you coming.
I warned him.
She did. We'll move on to with the correspondence and mover into seconder. Okay, you guys, you were quicker. I'll give it that. Okay, Councillor Kirky. And Councillor Scott. Number R 2024-222. Moved by Councillor Kirky, seconded by Councillor Scott. Accept the correspondence as presented. All in favor? Carried. Just a heads up, they said there's going to be lots of correspondence.
Thanks.
Try to keep my summaries brief for you, so you get a.
Gotta be some, you know, some ray of sunshine there. Yep, worst kept secret. Okay, we go on to accounts. The big books here, so if there's any questions about the accounts, please ask. And if not, those two over there did correspondence, so you did the accounts. But 178,000. So a mover in the seconder or any questions? Okay, thank you. Number R 2024-223, moved by Councillor Foot, seconded by Councillor Yam, that the statement of accounts dated October 21st, 22nd, 25th, 26th, 31st, and November 1st, 2024, totaling $178,257.70 be approved. All in favor? Carried. Thank you, sir. You're paying attention.
Thanks for coming in.
Mover and seconder to both go into private, Councillor Scott and Councillor Foot. There, we're bridging the gap. Number R 2024-224, moved by Councillor Scott, seconded by Councillor Foot, that this part of our meeting will be closed to the public as authorized by section 239 2B of the Municipal Act 2001 C25 for consideration of the following subject matter. B, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. The time is
7:44.
44. Thank you. PM. All in favor? Carried.